about Rizwan, I think who would see the stats would definitely say that the keeping was not up to the mark, and there were so many extras. But I think if you watch the match, then keeping was outstanding today, especially that one catch by Rizwan. So I think the extras which we gave, it wasn't Rizwan's fault, I believe. They were too much wide to catch. So I
Actually,
think the keeping was quite good today as compared to the last match.
well, I want to get on to what actually happened today, but we're sort of jumping into the action, which is quite all right. And I was actually listening to the radio commentary on the. It was at the time when Marsha was already out. So by this stage, so just remembering that at the start of the day's play, Australia was 3 down. So by this stage, Travis Head was out, Mitchell Marsh was out, Marnus Labuschagne was out, and I was listening to the radio commentary at the time, and Ian Smith, my fellow New Zealander, was commentating about the fact. Well, sorry, actually no, he was on television at the time, but he was basically saying that when Shaheen had bowled a ball down the leg side that went for 4 byes, he was essentially saying, when you get a wicket, you've got to be on the mark the next ball. You've got to have it right. And then literally the very next ball, I mean, Rabail, you can probably explain what happened better than I can because I wasn't watching it on the television. But, I mean, first of all, Shaheen drew Alex Carey into a shot in the third over with the new ball. But then what happened after that?
Yeah, I mean, when you are bowling with, consistent line and length, and when you're getting wickets, the pressure is definitely on the opposite team. So you have got to maintain that pressure if you want to get more and more wickets. So I think extras, is, just a way to ease the pressure, and opposition, they, get to get more time and they get to score freely. So I think that pressure Pakistan lacked, maintaining that pressure consistently. They should have been, right on the money, right on the lens with the bowling with the consistent line and lens. That would have been much better.
Well, I think we're just slightly at cross purposes here. I was trying to set you up perfectly for what happened when Shaheen bowled that ball to Kerry, which he got dismissed of, which found the inside edge of his bat, and the man in question, who's conceding the byes by the scorecard, took the most unbelievable catch, Mohammad Rizwan. What did you make of that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that catch was outstanding, phenomenal wicket keeping by Rizwan. And I think that is why he's, known as Superman wicket keeper for a reason.
Wow, wow, you sort of understate it slightly there, but just for viewers' perspectives, it's listeners' perspectives. I guess Shaheen is a left arm over the wicket, so it wasn't one of those ones where he was bowling right arm. Well, he can't bowl right arm because he's a left armer, but Rizwan still had to change direction and he gloved it very low to the ground, and I thought it was an absolutely tremendous catch. But the point I was trying to make is that the commentators were saying that Shaheen's got to improve, and he improved very, very first ball. Um, but Rabail, what else stood out for you in the Australian innings? Because there were so many things that we could talk about. I mean, was it Salman's catch off Shaheen off Travis Head? Um, was it was it the fact that there were two decisions overturned against Mitchell Marsh? Mitchell Marsh was given out twice and one over. Both were overturned. Was it the catches that Mir Hamza took it to? The last two catches of the innings were incredible. I mean, this is a guy in his third test taking incredible catches in the outfield. So what stood out for you?
Yeah, I agree. Yesterday when we were talking that Pakistan's fielding has not been up to the mark. I think that was the major difference today. You've got to support your bowling with your fielding. Sometimes when your bowlers are not working well, you're not getting wickets, then you have to get opposition under pressure by your fielding. And I think that was what Pakistan was missing yesterday. And today, the fielding, they were very, very, very active in the field. So yeah, I think catches win matches.
Well, they certainly do, and perhaps it's too early on to say that, but I was very impressed with the way that Pakistan wrapped up the Australian innings today, as they limited the damage, you might say, to 318. And as I say, Rabail kind of alluded to that on our show yesterday, that anything around sort of the 300 mark, just a little bit over that, would be a good outcome for Pakistan. So just really quickly looking through the Australian scorecard. So David Warner 38, Usman Khawaja 42, Manus Labuschagne, or Labuschagne as he's known in his homeland South Africa, 63, Steve Smith 26, Travis Head 17, Mitchell Marsh quite an important 41, Alex Carey 4, Mitchell Stark 9, Pat Cummins 13, Nathan Lyon 8, and Josh Hazlewood 5. And Rabail, the fact that Pakistan was able to run through the Australian tail, which is not the worst tail. I mean, Mitchell Stark and Pat Cummins, they can bat. I mean, that must have been massively pleasing for Pakistan fans. Waking up in the early hours today. Of course, you're let me calculate. You're 5 hours behind Australia, so what, you're getting up around 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, to see your side with Shaheen, Mir Hamza, Amir Jamal, and Hassan Ali, everyone coming to the party, so to speak, to wrap up the innings. That must have been a super happy moment for you all.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Australia's tail. It's not the worst. I mean, it's definitely one of the best tails in the world. They're low order, and Pat Cummins with Stark. All of them can bat well. So, and the best thing about Pakistan today was that everybody contributed. Each and every bowler, all of them chipped in, gave their performances, and bowled their hearts out. So that was very, very pleasing to see everybody contributing and getting wickets.
Yeah, and just on that, I mean, you couldn't get a better split in the bowling analysis if you wanted to. I mean, aside from the fact that Aga Salman got Usman Khawaja on the first day, if you eliminated that, everyone's almost contributed exactly equally. So Shaheen had 2 for 85 off his 27 overs. Mir Hamza had 2 for 51 off his 22 overs. Hassan Ali had 2 for 61 off 23.5 overs, and Amir Jamal had 3 for 64 off his 19 overs. So yeah, brilliant team effort by Pakistan, and I my personal opinion on this, Rabail, was that perhaps Australia got a few too many, but there's not any particular reason for that. I think it's just one of those ones where the pitch is in your favour. If you get them out for less, it's even better. But actually, to restrict them, in Australia at a scoring rate of 3.28 and over, so 318 runs off 96.5 overs, was a tremendous effort. And then when they started batting, it was quite interesting what happened, because when Abdullah Shafiq and Imam Haq came out, it wasn't that long into the innings when Pat Cummins decided to bring Nathan Lyon into the attack, and at that stage, Imam was going along very slowly. Shafiq was scoring relatively freely, but for whatever reason, Pat Cummins decided to bring Nathan Lyon into the attack, and
Yeah, that was a very interesting decision.
well, he's done it before, right? He did it at Lord's last year. I mean, if you think back to the first test in Rawalpindi, wow, it's coming up to 2 years ago for that historic tour when they brought Travis Head into the attack very early on. Travis Head also bowls off breaks. So even though Imam Ul Haq is a tremendously talented and proven batsman, a bit like Babar Azam, against spin, they obviously had a feeling that they might be able to get Imam out early, and it proved to be the case. He was caught by Labuschagne Manas at second slip for just 10 runs after facing 44 balls. And how are you feeling at that stage with Imam going, pretty cheaply early on with only 34 runs on the board?
Yeah, even at the start, there were a few occasions, where I thought that Imam was clueless at that point. So Australia, they started very well. They dominated the, start and bowling attack. Pat Cummins and Lyon, and they all were very well into the game. They were aware of the conditions well, so they started really really well. But when I think Shan Masood came in, partnership between Shan and Abdullah, it was very brilliant partnership and into Pakistan's favor obviously. But after that, there were a couple of wickets very quickly. Babar Azam and then Shan Masood and then Salman Ali Agha. Australia, I think, made a comeback. Australia did make a comeback.
Well, there's no doubt about that. So, Imam was out in the 16th over, um, and the score at that moment was 34. But Abdullah Shafiq and Shah Masood, the captain, added 90 before Abdullah Shafiq fell. What did you make of the catch, actually? Because I didn't see it on TV. I was listening to the radio, but by all accounts, the catch by Pat Cummins to get Abdullah Shafiq out was pretty sensational.
I mean, I have never seen Aussies dropping much of the catches. They've always been brilliant and outstanding in the field. So that was the same case today. Pat Cummins, the catch of the Abdullah Shweik, and that too, the wicket of Abdullah Shweik was very important because he was set batter and he was looking outstanding today, completely fearless, and he was, I think, very well into the game. And I was hoping that he would score a century here, but unfortunate for him.
Well, I don't want to talk too much further about what happened next because I know that you're probably the biggest fan of Babar Azam in the whole world. So let's just stick with Shafiq for a moment. I've watched him play a fair bit. I was there, as I say, at Rawalpindi, and then throughout that series back in 2002. And I've watched him a lot since. And recently, I suggested online is that if there's a new Fab Four, and bearing in mind that Martin Crowe, the New Zealander, he sort of made up this. Well, he wrote an article and said, I reckon there's like four guys that are going to dominate cricket for a long time. And he probably wrote that about, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe. And the four people he nominated were Joe Root, Virat Kohli, Kane Williamson, and Virat Kohli, Kane Williamson, Joe Root, and the last one's just escaped me for a moment. I'm sure it'll come in a moment, but if I had to name a new Fab Four, or a Fab Four on sort of what I've seen in first class cricket and Test cricket and all formats of the game, I came up with a Fab Four, which was Harry Brook from England, Rachin Ravindra from New Zealand, and Abdullah Shafiq from um, Pakistan, and Yashasvi Jaiswal from India. So, what I'm keen to know from you, um, from Rabail, do you think that that's too much of I don't know, positive sentiment about Abdullah Shafiq, or do you think he's actually really, really talented? And as one person suggested to me today on Twitter, but he's potentially better than Babar Azam. What do you think?
Yeah, coming to Abdullah Shafiq, he is phenomenal talent, obviously, and people do compare him with Baba. They say that his drives, his playing style, his technique is very similar to him. But I still think it's very early to compare Abdullah with Baba. He's very inexperienced, although he's a classy batter like Baba. But still, I think the way Baba has contributed to the team, and he has lifted Pakistan. I think it's not, no one can match his aura, his fan base around the world, not only in Pakistan, I would say around the world is phenomenal. And so his performances, I think he deserves that. But still, Abdullah Shafi, comparing him with Babar Azam is too early right now.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think, well, actually, the comment came on. It was actually where I got that. It wasn't someone tweeting actually. I was listening to Simon Katich during the former Australian opener, and he's also coaching these days. And he made the comment he thought that Abdullah Shafiq was potentially better than Babar Azam. And you don't take these opinions lightly. And you know, I listened to what he said, obviously, because about a month or so ago, or a few weeks ago, I named Shafiq as one of my new Fab Four, and I've just remembered the Martin Crowe's Fab Four, of course, was Steve. Well, the fourth in that was Steve Smith. Maybe I just forget about the Australians because I just got a mental block against Australians after being destroyed by them as a Kiwi fan for many years. But Shafiq's definitely a talent, but I think it's a, as you say, Rabail, it's a hell of a long way away to say, well, he's going to be better than Bubba. But moving on to Bubba, he came to the crease today with his side at 131 for three. So in theory, pretty well placed. But he only survived 7 balls, and he was bowled by Pat Cummins. So, Rabail, first of all, what did you make of Bubba's dismissal? And I know you probably cried at that moment, but you've had a few hours to think about it. What did you think of Bubba's dismissal?
Yeah, I mean, that was heartbreaking, first of all, seeing him getting out like that, because, it's the last match of 2023, and we all were hoping that 2023 wasn't a very good year for Baba, so he would end it on a good note. Still one innings is left, so maybe we can hope for that. But I mean, the ball from that Pat Cummins, it was a very good delivery. But still, batters of like, this caliber, like Babar Azam or, all the top batters around the world, they know how to play that delivery. And Babar, he has survived that delivery, he has survived Pat Cummins' lethal Yorkers as well. So he should have played that. But I've seen many people say that it's not a problem with Baba, with his technique or balance or something like that. It's maybe a bit psychological problem, or for all the trauma he's going through from the past 2 or 3 months. That Asia Cup loss and that World Cup, which wasn't very good for us, and that after post captaincy things, and because of all that, he's maybe going through a bit mental trauma or something like that. So maybe he could. I mean, I've heard people say that maybe he could rest for a month or so, or maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and then could get his form back.
Yeah, I saw similar things online today, and as I know you follow my Twitter account, so I'm sure you've seen what I've said, and I've actually got well over 100 likes on a post that I made, um, which was essentially saying, give was basically saying to the Pakistan cricket fans, give this guy a break. I mean, if imagine if you're in his position, right? You're in the World Cup. Your personal batting's not going brilliantly. Your team's not performing that well. Um, there's all sorts of messages around whether you're going to be captain or not. Half your fans are saying you shouldn't be captain. And then all of the same people are expecting you to go out at Boxing Day and score 100. And I'm just thinking, like, give the guy a break, like. So that's my personal perspective. But what I can say from a technical analysis perspective is that you could have put a football through the gap between his bat and pad today, Rabail.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But still, I think, the public here, cricket fans around the world, especially in Asian countries, they are way too emotional and way too quick to react. So, they have been very cruel to him sometimes, I feel. I mean, he's, carrying us for, how many years? 4 to 5 years all alone. This guy was carrying us all alone. So why not give him some time to, resettle, rethink? And, 2024 is starting now. So why not start a new year with a fresh mind?
Yeah, and not only was he carrying the team as a batsman, in all formats. He was also carrying the team as a captain in all formats. And yeah, I know some people will say, well, he wasn't great in all formats, but I thought actually during the World Cup his captaincy was pretty good. And as you know, Rabail, I've been to Pakistan 5 times. I've watched multiple series. I've watched Australia. I've watched the West Indies and Multan. I've watched England and Karachi. I mean, the guy's he's a talented player, no doubt about that. But he's actually a pretty good leader as well. And this would have been massively disruptive to his life to suddenly lose the captaincy. Shan Masood, who's not even in the side, suddenly takes over. I mean, it must be a very insecure place for Babar Azam right now in the Pakistan dressing room, don't you think?
Yeah, Baba was, I think, a quite good leader. I mean, we have played two finals and one semi-final under his captaincy. That's a pretty good record. But still, I don't know why people seem to think that he's not a natural leader or so, and they compare him with Kohli and Joy Root and so on. But still, I think they need to understand that Kohli, he did not become the captain like all of a sudden. He was groomed under MS Dhoni, and then same goes for Joy Root. He was developed as a captain under Cook, right? But Babar had no
Yeah,
one to develop him into a
hey, and
leader. He is a natural leader.
don't forget Kane Williamson being groomed under Brendan McCullum as well.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel for Bubba, and anyway, but let's not labour the point anymore. But anyway, so Bubba was dismissed for one, and his wicket fell at 131. So at the end of the day, Pakistan finished on 194 for six. So it was a rain interrupted day. Um, I suppose the talking point is that Saud Shakil got his first score under 20, if I'm not mistaken. And I watched Saud Shakil on his debut in Karachi around this time last year, actually. Um, so Rabail, I don't see people talking about failing, but perhaps from a more positive perspective. I guess this happens in cricket, right? You get off to a good start, you have a run of games, you make a few runs, and then you get a bad result.
Yeah, I understand. Saud Shakil. I think if we talk about Test cricket, then Saud Shakil is not a bad option for our middle order. He's, a good batter. Sometimes, he's still a youngster, and youngsters can be under pressure. So just give him some time. But I think he's a very, very good option for a middle order.
Yeah, I was very
His
impressed with
technique
him.
is good, his balance is good. He can understand the situation well and play according to that.
Yeah, I was super impressed with him in Pakistan last year in those Karachi tests against New Zealand, and I did feel at that time, and forgive me, I forget who was batting number three at that time. I know Azhar Ali retired a little bit before that. I can't remember who was batting number three in Karachi last year, about.
I don't exactly remember, but I think there were a few times There were a couple of times Babar also came at three.
No, it was someone else. I just can't remember who it was. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But I felt that Saud Shakil could have been a solution for the number three position for Pakistan. But obviously they've made a different decision, going with Shan Masood. And let's talk about Shan. 54 at a strike rate of 71. So he's, well, aside from Rizwan, who came in later, who was striking at 85. And I know we shouldn't be talking about strike rates in test matches, but what did you make of Shan's performance today?
Yeah, Shan Masood, his innings today was, very, very good. He came under pressure when, Imam got out early and he played with good intent, right? His strike rate, as you mentioned, was, well above the other two. So, yeah, I think intent and, the way he handled the situation and, from the start, he put the Australian bowlers under pressure. That was commendable. Fabulous.
But there's also a lot of talk about, Shan having to justify his place in the side. He averages 28 in Test cricket and he's been recalled as a captain after, well, albeit like incredible form in county cricket for Derby and Yorkshire. But he came out today after Imam's wicket fell and scored 54 runs, and I wasn't watching it, but I heard he played a fairly awful shot to get out. But this is the other thing, is that the the fans then crucify him for the fact that he got out after he got 54. But what did you think about the way he sort of set the tone for the innings? That's what I'm most interested to know about.
Yeah, coming to that, sure. I mean, Test cricket, you need to play sensibly, and aggression is not always the solution. Sometimes you need to, play dot balls, you need to consume your time, you need to take some time, and then you need to play your aggressive game if you want to. So I think sometimes, playing aggressive and rash shots in Test cricket, especially, it's, just illogical. And at that time, the team needed him, but still, nonetheless, it was a good knock.
I thought he did really, really well today, actually. And again, I mean, we talk about Bubba, his first game without the captaincy and the pressure it's on him as an individual. But, spare a thought for Shan Masood. It's his second test as captain, and he's expected to lead from the front. And, I don't expect him to be like Ben Stokes, but I am really impressed by the way that he's trying to score runs. He's batting like a number three, a bit like Joe Root. He's trying to find runs. He's trying to turn the strike over. He's trying to find the boundary. He hit a six today. Um, just a
Yeah,
couple.
exactly. The intent matters, it was good. Plus, I really got to mention the running as well. The running between the wickets was also superb.
Yeah, so just a couple of things before we finish, Rabail. I know that Pakistan got, sort of berated online by all and sundry, including their own fans, for conceding 50 extras while Australia batted. But check this out. Um, Australia's already conceded 22 extras. So, in about half the
The
overs.
contest is going that who will be conceding more extras.
Yeah, I know it could be. Well, as I heard one commentator on radio today to say, is it's like who's got the best 12th man, and they weren't referring to the person that's actually coming onto the field to deliver the drinks. It's like Mr. Extras. The last thing I want to say to you is we talked yesterday on the show about Mohammad Rizwan's recall. He's batting at number six in this test, and he's 29 not out overnight. He's scored that 29 runs off over 34 balls. Um, Obviously, he's going to be an important figure for tomorrow. But what did you make of Rizwan's innings?
Yeah, after Babar's wicket, the collapse after Babar's wicket is always permanent for Pakistan. So we lost two to three quick wickets at that time. But yeah, Rizwan then came in. He, handled the pressure, handled the situation very well. And I really, really got to mention his shot, his six against that Pat Cummins. It was just outstanding, so pleasing to the eye. So yeah, I hope that he'll be staying tomorrow. and Pakistan's have all hopes from him now.
Well, on that note, I just want to finish with an anecdote, Rabail, which I may or may not have told you, but about a year ago, or a bit over a year ago, I left one of England was playing a seven-match one-day series in Pakistan, and I left one of the matches in Karachi early, and I went back to the hotel where the team was staying, and not necessarily for haram reasons. It's just one place I could go and chill out and meet some of the New Zealand guys and have a beer. But I got there early, and I forget exact. Or maybe it wasn't on a match day actually. But anyway, when I got to the lift, there was no one there, right? And normally in the hotel in Karachi or Islamabad or wherever it is, there's just like fans everywhere. But on this particular day, the only person there was Mohammed Rizwan. So I walked up to him and I said, hi Rizwan. I'm Andrew McLean. I'm from New Zealand. I've been following your series for like I don't know a year or so." And he said the nicest thing to me, Rabail. I don't think I've told you this. He said, "Oh, that's great. I'm so pleased you're coming to my country. If I can help you in any way possible, just contact me." And that was it. And I was just like, wow. No mention of cricket, no mention of anything, no mention of media people. He just said, just if you need anything, just contact me. And I just really like that.
Yeah, very impressive. I mean, he is truly a gentleman. We all know, a very, very humble personality.
Now, maybe he's a captain for the future, but that's a story for another day. So, anyway, that is the end of the Pakistan Cricket Show with me and Rabail, looking back at day two of the test match at the MCG. We'll be back with you again, same time tomorrow.